Hello there, we are your hosts Vivek and Pabitra from the Agile Coach Podcast. In this podcast, we bring fresh perspectives to you through our interviews with thought leaders in Agile coaching, facilitation, business analysis, and product management roles. Enjoy. Hey everyone, this is a very special episode that Pabitra and I, the two co-founders of the Agile Coach, are doing. In this episode, it's just a quick one, but I wanted to pick Pabitra's brain around, some of the mindset about the transition. I go into the story on how she actually transitioned from a public role in public health to Agile business analyst and Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And we also talk a little bit about our live immersive program that we do. So hope you enjoy this episode. Pabitra, we would love to know your story on how you got into Agile.
Gosh, how I got into Agile. Well, I had just graduated college and I was working in research, went to school for public health and realized that it's not something that I wanted to do all my life. And thankfully, I met you, Vivek, and you kind of had done some training with other folks, kind of how to help them go into the product side in Agile, just more on the business analyst side. Actually, I know you were working as a business analyst then. And more than anything, why did I start? I mean, I wasn't too familiar with tech, honestly. And so I think just hanging around with you and just kind of learning more about tech was like my big motivation. And just knowing in my head, tech to me was just like IT, computer, engineer, don't talk to anybody, that kind of mindset. And so in that was like the box, like I was putting those definition in for tech in that box and sealed it and never like looked at anything else. And when I started to look more into that, there is the business side of tech, there is the people side of tech. That's when I was like, oh, shoot, like I could go into tech. I could make good income. I don't have to, go to medical school or, at that time I thought about like becoming a nurse anesthetist, which I would probably still be in school right now, trying to figure all that jazz out. But that was a big motivation. It's just kind of hanging around, knowing that there's another side in tech. And then Agile kind of fell into as I grew in the role. So when I started as a business analyst, I didn't know much about Agile. It was a traditional business analyst role. And then as I grew and worked in tech, then I found Agile and Scrum Master and went and became certified Scrum Master.
Also, a quick love story. We fell in love and you decided to quit your job in Colorado and move to St. Louis. And we had to do that because, that's what I did. And that's just also.
And disclaimer, yes, we fell in love, but I was also looking for change. I used to live in Denver and that was like where I grew up. And I was like, man, I need to get out of here. Otherwise, my identity, it's forever whatever people know me as. And I just need to get out of here and create a new identity, which, I think I did. So thanks for that.
Awesome. So second question, your previous role versus a role now, your role in healthcare, in public health versus when you became a business analyst and a Scrum Master.
There was a change for sure. I think like when I was a research analyst, I didn't even realize it, but there were a lot of transferable skills, right? Because even as a research analyst, my goal, I was in outcome research. Don't want to go too much into it, but it was to be a liaison. Like I was working with the physician, gathering, certain requirements on what he needed done, and then working with different stakeholders and different team members within the health sector to finish that project or deliver, certain deliverables. And I realized that when I initially became a business analyst or started learning about what a business analyst does, there was a lot of that. It was talking to different stakeholders. It was talking to users, customers, product owners, product managers, and really trying to understand what are we trying to do here? What problem are we trying to solve? And working with different parties to solve that problem, whether that was like developers, product owners, scrum masters. And so initially as a business analyst, maybe there was a difference, obviously, it being in tech and that being in healthcare. But as I grew, my first job, being a business analyst, I was super scared, obviously, barely knew stuff. I was just kind of growing. And then, as I grew into becoming a scrum master, it was a scary journey for sure. I remember you kind of pushing me a lot and saying, man, like you would be a good scrum master, like go for it. And me like, oh my God, I have to do public speaking and I don't know if I can do it. And just like not being able to get out of my comfort zone for a while. And once I did, I fell in love with anything and everything that had to do with Agile and working in teams and building that relationship with team members and really leading teams to be that self-empowering, self-organizing teams and creating that safety and really seeing how do I help them in their personal, professional growth so that they feel like they're valued at work, not just like what they're producing, but also they're feeling valued at work because somebody actually cares about their growth. And so like even simple things is like, hey, you don't know this. Like, hey, here's an extra resource, or like, hey, another senior developer, can you sit with this person and help them understand these concepts? I really love that. And I think people like that I did that because it was helping them in their personal or their professional growth too. So I really enjoyed that aspect of being a scrum master and coach. And yeah.
Awesome. Last question. Today, if you had to do it again, how would you do it?
Gosh, I would take a lot more initiative. And obviously, we don't have an wonderful program. We didn't have that back in the day, but at the Agile Coach, we have this 4-month immersive program where literally we've figured out end to end on how to help people go into a business analyst, product owner, a scrum master role, where you get a few different certifications, you have self-paced courses, live sessions, so many mentors. We've created that community where there are product owners, scrum masters, business analysts that are literally backing you up and mentoring you on how to successfully transition into the career. We didn't have any of that. I remember I took like a couple of classes that you were teaching for the company that you worked for. That was it, right? And a lot of it was just kind of figuring out on my own and you giving me resources, but literally, we have a program now that helps and has helped hundreds of people go into these tech, non-coding tech roles. So definitely, checking out our live program, getting a few different certifications, finding people who are in the field, getting that mentorship. I would totally do that. I would totally be part of the Agile Coach.
Yeah. And one of the biggest things that you didn't mention is just the branding and the resume and the mindset of how to tackle the interview questions, right? That's the initiative that you lead that has resulted in so many awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, to add on that, because people can go and read a lot of stuff. There's so many courses out there on Agile, Scrum, business analyst, product owner. But like, what the heck do you do with it? How do you brand yourself? And how do you even look at your past roles to see the transferable skills? Because no matter what job that you do, like I mentioned earlier, no matter what job that you have, there are a lot of non-technical side, more the people side of things, the business side of things. Because at the end of the day, you work for a business, no matter like what your role is, and you're helping businesses do business better in a sense, right? And so there are a lot of transferable skills, but people just don't know how to structure that in their resume in a way and talk about like certain interview questions. And we do set up mock interviews on a weekly basis where we have 10, 15 members that mentors that show up in those sessions, ask you a lot of the common interview questions, and that feedback and then being able to iterate on a weekly basis. I think it's definitely has been a huge asset for a lot of people in the program. So yeah.
And Pabitra, do you want to talk about just the idea of like learning versus applying with the pro bono consulting work that we facilitate?
Yeah, for sure. So, in our program, like the first first a month and a half, 2 months, you're, learning about Agile, Scrum, your role itself, like the role that you're going for. But then the second half of the program, we have a more of an experiential based product that you get to be part of and play the role that you're going to go for. So not only understanding the end to end of like a product development, what does that look like if you've never been in tech? But also like what tools to use, what mindset, what techniques. And so you literally get to use some of these tools, facilitate different Scrum ceremonies, create certain artifacts for those of you that are going for a business analyst or product owner role, and get this immersive learning for 7 to 8 weeks that you can take that with you and talk about it in your interviews. Because a lot of times if you don't have enough stories or context, right? Like you can learn a lot of things, but a lot of people don't have that context. And so having that project-based, product-based work gives you that context to say, here's what I did. Here's how I, handled this conflict, or here's what I did when I led this meeting or facilitated this meeting. So yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no, it was so much fun just talking about some of this. And we're going to do more of these episodes in the future. So stay tuned. Next time, maybe I'll do the similar questions to Vivek and his journey, because it's a pretty interesting one. All right, that's a wrap with this episode. Thank you for listening till the end. We hope these podcasts are providing value on your Agile journey. If you haven't visited our website, theagilecoach.com, we highly suggest you for other courses and supporting material on your journey. You can also get access to our self-paced courses or learn more about the live training that we provide to become a Scrum Master, Product Owner, Product Manager. With that, we will see you on the next episode. Love and best wishes from the Agile Coach.